This is the Canadian River in central Oklahoma, one of the Great Plains sandy rivers, bringing sand from farther up the Great Plains and slightly alkaline water, making this a pretty salty, sandy area. And the floods here, they bring in so much sand that these dunes form on the bottomlands. These are really dry sand dunes despite the water table being just right there. And there's some really cool dune specialist plants here. This guy is Euploca convolvulacea, formerly a heliotropium. It's in the Boraginaceae. Doesn't really have the scorpioid cymes that most of Boraginaceae has, but it has the 5 lobed flowers, or 5-petaled in Boraginaceae sometimes, and really stiff hairs. That it's actually not C4 or C3 photosynthesis, it's C3-C4. It does both C3 and C4, kind of. Pollinated by moths, it smells like jasmine, just like most moth-pollinated flowers. And it's just a little annual that loves these dunes. This is a sand specialist, or a dune specialist, Euphorbia. As you see, it has highly reduced flowers, and the bracts are not very showy on this Euphorbia. This is Euphorbia hexagona because its flowers are little 6-sided hexagons. And this guy only grows in pretty much dunes and super sandy soil, really well drained. Right next to it, we got another dune specialist. This is Triplacis purpurea. Not sure the common name on that one. As you can see in the fall, it gets pretty nice colors, and I believe this one is also an annual. Another sand specialist. I've seen this in areas that aren't super dune-like, but this is Dysphania atriplicifolia in the Amaranthaceae. It's an annual, and as you can see, once it dies, it forms these, I hate to say tumbleweed, but kind of tumbleweed things that go around spreading the seeds everywhere. But this guy, unlike tumbleweed, is actually native to North America. Well, I am barefoot out here. I am glad I did not step on this little velvet ant. Technically a wasp. And this helianthus is Helianthus petiolaris, which is known as the prairie sunflower, but most of the prairies that it's on are super sandy or in these dune habitats like we're in now. And it has extra long petioles. The leaves aren't quite as scabrous as Helianthus annuus, but it is an annual. There's the bracts. Annual sunflower that just loves super dry sandy habitats. Our sand dunes, they eventually get stabilized by vegetation, especially in western Oklahoma. Sand sagebrush, Artemisia filifolia, starts colonizing the sand dunes. And without the floods that we used to have, because we dammed up all the rivers, and less disturbance from large grazers, the dunes start to get stabilized. So all these dune specialist species can't survive in a sagebrush-dominated prairie. So there's not many of these mobile dunes. Most of the dunes are becoming stabilized now. So these mobile dunes are now restricted to basically right along the river like we are now, because there is still some floods that are able to wipe the vegetation down here. The U.S. government thought it was a great idea to plant these all over the West. This is Tamarix, not sure which species. Tamarix just completely invades, and that's salt cedar. But in there with the Tamarix, we got a native willow. That's the interior sandbar willow. The common name actually fits on this one. Mostly grows on sandbars. And it never really gets into a big tree. That's about the biggest I see them right there, about 12 feet tall. There's the Tamarix flowers. I'm sure they'd be nice where they're native to, but on these sandy prairies and these bottomlands, they are just taking over. I just moved off the unstabilized dunes, and up here, just about a foot, couple feet higher than over there, the dunes are getting more stabilized. Got a really cool Croptolon hookerianum, hooker's scratch daisy, little annual that loves sand. Annual wild buckwheat, Eriogonum annuum. This is a really cool one. I was looking for a Delea lanata. There you go. And these guys can form huge mats up to 6 feet wide, just one plant. But these are actually, unlike a lot of these dune specialists, this is a dune specialist that actually is a perennial. So this thing has a huge root system, long taproot, and can live a really long time. There's the stem for this one, and it just goes, and then there's a little bit of it alive over here. Doesn't seem to be blooming right now, but it has really cool blooms for a Delea. Looks more like Amorphoblooms, which it is in the Amorpha tribe of the pea family. Yeah, Dahlia lanata, another dune specialist. So there's just a whole suite of dune specialist plants out here on the dunes. Really cool to see. And of course all the cottonwoods. Woo!